What is going on, everybody? We have finally made it to the end of this little Barrows series. 1,000 chests later, I have finally finished, and I now have some awesome averages for you guys to find out exactly which staff you should be using at Barrows and how much you're going to make per chest. So if you haven't seen them yet, I did do 4 individual videos on Fire Surge, Trident of the Seas, Trident of the Swamp, and Ivan Blast to figure out how much we can make from each one of those spells at Barrows. And finally, in this video, I'm going to be rolling all of those together, and we'll put in the averages of each spell as well as the 1,000 chest average at the very end to see exactly how much that you can make per chest. So what I mean by how much you can make per chest is basically you can take these averages of the runes that I found and essentially subtract your supply cost from each chest that you do. That way you'll have a good idea of the profit that you're going to be making. And also, along with this, I'll be naming off some stuff that you might want to use each particular spell for, based on whether you have money, you don't have money, or if you're searching for something, or just trying to get the most chests. Before we get going with all of the runes loot and figuring out those averages, I want to note that I am adding in the average cost of a Barrows item while you're doing Barrows, to put it in with the total loot so you can find out exactly how much you can make if you hit the drop rate with Barrows. Now, drop rate for Barrows is 1 in 17 chests if you kill all 6 brothers. So all Barrows items combined total is 16,612,978 GP, giving you an average item cost of 692,207, and with your 1 in 17 drop rate gives you an average per chest value of 40,718. So I will be adding that into the runes loot, and then you can subtract your own supply costs, figure out how much you can make a run. Alright, so before I get away from the purpose of this video, let's go ahead and get into it. So Fire Surge was the very first spell that I started to do this big old Barrows video with. So the Fire Surge was definitely my fastest spell, 3 minutes and 58 seconds per run, giving me a finished 15 runs per hour, and it took me a total time of 16.67 hours to finish those 250 runs with Fire Surge. Now, I was in max mage, so your supplies and your gear are really going to affect the runs per hour, but don't worry about that. You can calculate all of that yourself. As for the runes, average mind runes 391, chaos 175, death 108, and bloods 60. Now, at the current market prices, that gives you a total runes loot of 71,835 GP. And per chest, with your Barrows item included, you are at a gross value of 112,553 GP. Moving right into the next spell, I used the Trident of the Seas. Now, the Trident of the Seas, I had an average runtime of 4 minutes and 30 seconds, giving me a completed 13 runs per hour. As for the total time, 19.25 hours to do 250 Barrows chests. Average mind runes 428, chaos 179, death runes 107, and blood runes 52. Current market prices give us a value of 69,153 GP in runes, and with that per chest value of the Barrows item added in, 109,871 GP as your gross chest value. Next spell, obviously Trident of the Swamp. Trident of the Swamp runtimes were a little shorter than the Seas, 4 minutes and 8 seconds per average run, giving me a completed 14 runs per hour, and it took me 17.25 hours to complete the 250 chests. Average mind runes 399, chaos 195, death 95, and bloods 60, giving me an average runes value of 70,221 GP. With the Barrows item in there, 110,939 GP is your gross chest value. And last but not least, the Ivan Blast. Now, the Ivan Blast was very obviously the absolute slowest spell that I used at 5 minutes and 3 seconds per run, giving me a completed run per hour of 11. It took me a total time of 21.04 hours to finish the 250 chests, which was considerably longer than any other spell. Average mind runes 401, chaos runes 174, death 105, and blood runes 51. Giving me an average value of 67,607 GP for the runes. Adding the Barrows item in there gives you a total gross value of 108,325 GP per chest with the Ivan Blast. So as you can see up on the screen with all those averages up there, the Fire Surge was definitely the best for gross value, but it really depends on your supplies and the runs per hour, what your GP per hour actually comes out to be. Now I'm not going to factor in my supply costs to this video because again, these values are for you guys, for you to calculate your supply costs, subtract it from my gross values, and figure out what you can make per hour. But before we go ahead and jump into the 1000 chest averages, I want to talk about the spells a little bit. So 4 different spells. These 4 spells I chose for a reason. So I started with Fire Surge because I knew it was popular among some higher level players. Now Fire Surge does require a magic level of 95, and if you're using Fire Surge you want to have a Tome of Fire as well because it increases the damage done by fire spells by like 50% or something. So because this was my fastest run time, I'm going to go ahead and say if you're hunting elite clues, you're going to want to use Fire Surge. Now it'll be even faster if you don't actually get the loot potential up to 88 to get max runes. If you just get the 6 brothers killed and then loot the chest for elite clues, you're looking at a drop rate of about 1 in 33 for elite clues. And that drop rate does go up if you don't kill a brother. So you definitely want to kill all 6 brothers if you're hunting elite clues. Barrows is one of the best sources in the games for elite clues, and I myself am currently working on getting that elite clue reward, the heavy casket, so this was a very good provider of a lot of elite clues. The next spell is the Trident of the Seas, and I did see this spell quite a bit through mid to even some high levels. Now the Trident of the Seas is pretty cheap to use because it does not require Zulrah scales like the Trident of the Swamp, so the cost per cast is pretty low. Now this does require 75 magic to wield, which isn't really a high requirement. And I would say you're going to want to use the Trident of the Seas if you're trying to build your bank up. The Trident of the Swamp is considerably more expensive, one because of the Zulrah scales you need for it, and because of the magic fang it takes to make the staff. So if you're trying to build your bank up, I suggest you use the Trident of the Seas until you get some money and you can afford the upkeep of the Trident of the Swamp. And obviously following the Trident of the Seas, I'll talk about the Trident of the Swamp. Now like I said, the Trident of the Swamp does take Zulrah scales, and it is 1 scale per cast, raising the price of your cast by about 250 to 300 GP depending on where scales are sitting in the market. Now the Trident of the Swamp does increase your magic accuracy by +10, but that doesn't really matter at Barrows because what you are using your magic on, those brothers have level 1 magic, giving their defense pretty much non-existent. So with the Trident of the Swamp, it's more of a higher ticket item where you want to save some money and get that item. But if you don't have the cash for it, don't feel pressed. Just use the Trident of the Seas until you can afford the Trident of the Swamp. And finally, the Ivan Blast. Now the Ivan Blast is very popular among lower level players. You do need to complete the underground pass to use the Ivan Blast, but it only requires a magic level of 50, and the cast cost is very cheap. 1 death rune, 5 fire runes. Very, very cheap. So if you are looking for a bank builder, the Ivan Blast might be the ticket for you at Barrows because it's very cheap, very easy to get, and although the run times are slow, over time you will make a profit. It's not going to be as much of a profit as with either of the Tridents or Fire Surge, but you're going to be using the Ivan Staff to build your bank. So if you got a low bank value and you're looking to get a little bit of money, definitely go with the Ivan Blast if you are not level 75 magic. Alright guys, so that is it. That is my assessment of each of these spells. Now some people wanted me to do a Black Salamander, some people wanted me to do the Slayer Dart, but honestly, throughout all of these 1000 chests, I saw 2 people using a Black Salamander and maybe a handful of people actually using the Slayer Dart. Now you can use both of these at Barrows, but they are a little bit outdated. Not many people use them anymore, so I'm definitely going to suggest you use one of these 4 spells that I listed as I did the 1000 chests. These are absolutely the most popular 4 spells that I saw at Barrows. Alright, so I know you guys are itching to see how much did I make in total from my 1000 Barrows runs. Well, luckily for you guys, I took the screenshots, got all the information, so I have that here for you guys. As for my total time, 74.21 hours it took me to do 1000 Barrows chests, and that is a long time. But all the same, As for total runes, screenshot is on the screen. 405,077 mind runes, 180,960 chaos runes, 103,725 death runes, and 55,592 blood runes. Averaging all these out, I get an average mind runes of 405, chaos runes 181, death runes 104, and blood runes 55. As for my average runes value per chest, 67,700 GP. Now let's go ahead and move on to all of the items combined, meaning my runes and my Barrows pieces that I ended up getting. And no, I did not include the Elite Clue Scroll loot in this video because this video is based on Barrows alone, not with the Elite Clues. So if you were looking forward to that, sorry about that. But anyways, as for the items, got a little bit lucky, a little bit unlucky at times. As for the Thorax pieces, 3 helmets, 3 plate bodies, 8 plate legs, unfortunately, 4 hammers, Therox, 3 helmets, 7 plate bodies, which was very nice because they are 1.3 mil each, 2 plate legs and 1 great axe, arums, 1 hood, 3 tops, 4 bottoms, so combined 7 pieces there over a mil and 2 mil each, 2 staffs. As for Guthans, 2 plate bodies, 2 skirts, 1 spear. Carols, the only Carols piece I got was 4 coifs. And Verax finally, 1 helm, 2 brassards, and 1 flail. So Iron Men, bad news for you guys. Even with 1,000 chests, I still didn't finish every single Barrows item. So I guess you guys might want to keep grinding on that if you haven't got them all yet. Total guide price for all of my items and runes, 106,360,452 GP. Now, how much did this cost me? Well, I took all of the costs from each of the spells that I did, and my total costs ended up being 19,266,319 GP. So that leaves me with 87,094,133 GP in total profit. Now, as for my profit per run, obviously we divide that by 1,000 chests. 87,094 GP per run is my profit, and my profit per hour came out to be 1,173,617 GP. So overall, 1.175 mil GP per hour. Might as well just round it up, 1.2 mil per hour. That's about what I made at Barrows, and honestly, for a kind of old and outdated, I guess, boss is what Jackass considers it because it's on the boss log, that's not too bad. 1.2 mil profit per hour is definitely not anything to turn up your nose at, and if you're hurting for money or if you need some quick runes, you definitely might want to consider checking out Barrows. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind, I did have the Mortania Hard Diaries complete, which does give you 50% increased rune yield at Barrows for each Barrows chest that you searched. And you will definitely want to be getting at least 88% loot potential because that enables you to get the max amount of runes from Barrows. So that's it, guys. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed all of these Barrows videos that I've put together, and I hope that it gives you a little bit of insight if you're hurting for money, or if you want to make some quick money, or maybe you just need some runes, or if you're an Iron Man and you really need some runes to train your magic. This is what you can expect. So, as usual, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below. They really help the video's popularity, and if you haven't done so yet, please tap that subscribe button. On your way out, I'm closing in on 20,000 subscribers. And all of your subscribes really mean a ton to me. The support really means a lot to me. But that is going to do it, guys. I will see you all on whatever the next video is that I am putting out. Take it easy.